Hi, my name is Mon, and today's just a quick video on an updated design for my 360 player launcher. In the background there, you can see my previous design. One of the really big things about this new design is that the wind charges come from above and explode down here on this slab. Turns out there's surprisingly few blocks in Bedrock that wind charges will explode on with this like setup that I have. So a slab was actually a really good bet. The other benefit of this is that the player can more easily see where they're going, as they're down there as well. I guess another note that I didn't mention in my previous video is elytra durability. So elytra durability is determined by time flown, not distance traveled. So a wind charge player launcher that launches you thousands of blocks quite quickly actually isn't going to do much durability damage to your elytra. So that's something worth noting. Another thing worth noting, because this design has the wind charges explode on the slab rather than exploding on the player, uh, the distance to the center matters a lot more for the type of launch that you're doing. So if you've charged it up a lot, that means that you would want to be further out towards the edge of the powdered snow. And if you only charge it up a little, you might want to be just that little bit closer because the blast will be smaller. The other cool aspect of this is because it's Bedrock and there isn't player-player collision, that means that this is a multiplayer launcher, unlike the previous one, as the wind charges explode on the slab, meaning that players around it can all be launched at the same time. Yeah, that's just a couple of notes about this new wind charge launcher. Essentially, the same bottom component here as my previous design, just using a different way of triggering the skulk sensors by using a daylight sensor instead. And then just up here is basically the whole setup to catch the wind charges and then launch them. It's honestly surprisingly compact. The thing that makes this top section big is just the asymmetry of this. So let me just jump into Redstone World and we'll have a better look at it. Alright, so we're just here in a Redstone world to go over the circuitry really quickly. So this whole first bit here is really just a lock to keep this clock off unless it's triggered, obviously. So let me just knock this redstone torch out. As you can see, that's what happens there. Oop, I've added a redstone torch where I shouldn't have needed to. There we go. Okay, so what you might have noticed then is that the wind charges exploded. So this whole setup here is perfectly fine for catching the wind charges, but sometimes you end up with like an off-cycle pulse when you turn it back off that it'll explode. So really, this is completely avoidable with a slightly bigger setup, but I wanted to do a faster charging, and so I've just sort of accepted the fact that sometimes those like misfires where the dispenser fires but the piston doesn't catch it will happen more frequently. However, this is also avoidable with this design by controlling the exact amount of wind charges that end up in this dispenser here. So if there is no wind charge to dispense, then you don't end up with this off-cycle problem of this piston exploding the wind charge. Okay, so essentially that just brings us to the launching mechanism, which is honestly just timings for the different pistons. So first of all, to trigger this one and then to, at the appropriate time, trigger this sticky piston launcher. That's just triggered by putting a piece of armor or elytra on. And yeah, there really isn't much to it. This is just a simple double piston extender to get it over here, and then a delayed slime launcher to get it down here to explode on the slab there. So let me just show you what that might look like if there was actually wind charges. Okay, so I have an elytra. I put that on, as you can see, and then that gets pulsed downwards and explodes there. As you can see, we don't have any floating wind charges like it would happen if it landed on a block. Consideration here is making sure this powdered snow pulse occurs at the same time uh, as the wind charges arriving on that slab. So essentially, all of this here is just for the sake of timing. So you've got that. Obviously, the time of this mechanism has to be accounted for in the bottom mechanism as well, as they're wirelessly triggered at the same time of putting the elytra on. And that really is everything. If you want further explanations about this system here, most of my videos actually relate to that currently, although I'm working on some potion designs for player launches as well.